Thank you. Member Taipari.
Kia ora, Madam Chair. Ngā mihi kia kōrua I tēnei wā. Just a couple of general questions which I think are applicable to both, but under para 9 talks about a process after being internally cleared. Does that happen for all the parties? Because I'm aware it doesn't happen for the statutory board.
Yes, through the chair, I actually had a conversation with someone in our iwi engagement team yesterday. My understanding was some information was historically going on a shared drive, and that's no longer happening because there's a great working relationship that's going on. So I will actually amend this report in the future because rather than formally putting something on a shared drive, there's now more an open two-way informal conversation that takes place.
So that's not really correct.
No, and I'll be amending that in the future.
So in terms of the interests Māori have identified in terms of commercial opportunities, if the decision is to dispose of the properties, how will they be considered as part of that process based on their feedback?
Through the chair, Marion, are you able to respond to that?
Sure. So each party that has expressed an interest in purchasing the property will be consulted with by our disposals team. So they will all be spoken to. Anybody who has made and recorded an interest will be contacted ahead of any marketing strategy or any disposal strategy going forward. In terms of iwi, we do understand a number of iwi have expressed an interest. Our disposals team, as I said, have noted that they have spoken to them already and are due to speak to them should this property be approved for sale today.
Okay, so that's important because now my specific questions to Clark Road is if the disposal was to occur, is it conditional, i.e. for only urban renewal?
No, I understand it isn't. This disposal, there's no agreement in place with Hobsonville Land Company to date. They have expressed an interest in purchasing the property. We have advised them that should the property be approved for sale, we will consider them amongst others who have made
my question isn't specific to a purchaser because it sort of says in the report and others. But what I'm asking is it specific, the sale, is it specific to urban renewal? So is it conditional that you will only sell it to people who will do urban renewal, i.e. or e.g. iwi?
Through the chair, given the situation in Auckland at the moment, our preferred outcome for the parts of the site which aren't required for future open space or future reserve would be to achieve a housing outcome.
Sure.
No agreement has been entered into with any party, and I make the point that that's another reason why we wouldn't want to tie this resolution or the sale of this land to another piece of land because we haven't actually entered negotiations yet.
I'm just trying to work out if it's legal to impose that anyone who buys it can only use it for urban renewal. If you're the seller of the car, can you say who drives it?
I guess the intention is, as Letitia mentioned, the area has been master planned. So
that's the zoning, eh?
Plan change there.
That's the zoning?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that, I understand about zoning, but now I'm talking about a sale of a property. You can only do what the zoning provides unless you get a plan variation, of course. But can you impose that it's only for that purpose? Because, as I say, if after purchase someone seeks a plan variation and is granted such, that could be contrary to your urban renewal.
Through the chair, we can enter into development agreements to achieve certain outcomes. It's quite hard to talk in specifics when we haven't entered into any such development agreements at this time. We've come to the governing body with the proposal of what we'd like to achieve on the site. It's in line with the master planning that's occurred for the area. It's supported by the local board. We hear your concerns, but we can't give specific answers to these questions because no development agreements have been entered into at this stage.
Okay, they're not concerns. They're just clarification of a process that says we want to dispose of something. There are a number of potential interested parties who may want to purchase. There is current zoning, but I'm really just seeking the clarification of whether council or Pānuku or whoever is disposing can put a condition of sale on it that it's only for that purpose, when you process entitles people to seek variations and amendments and changes.
We will be seeking through the chair to get a housing outcome on these parcels of land.
Okay, so can I just take a couple more questions? Do you know how and from whom the Crown acquired the property from in the first instance?
It's all been sorted.
Yes, the property was originally owned by a farmer who died in 1940, and his estate was transferred to a trust. Then in 1948, the Crown took some land by proclamation. It's the land that we see today as the road just north of this property. That was taken in 1948. Then in 1955, a further part of this property was taken for defence purposes. And then in 2004, the Waitakere City Council acquired the property from the Crown, another part of the property from the Crown under Section 50 of the Public Works Act.
So lastly, the road acquisition under that Section 50, is it, in Public Works?
So yes,
Or the proclamation? Was that acquired from the farmer?
it was acquired from the trust that from his will,
From that
basically. Yes.
estate? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lee.
Yes, Madam Chair, without getting into the details of the debate, I think we need to be accurate when we make resolutions, especially in regard to the disposal of publicly owned property and the purposes of the disposal. There seems to be an error in the recommendation. It sounds okay, nothing offensive, it sounds very good. Urban renewal purposes, but this is not Grey Lynn or Mount Roskill. This is an old farm or a former farm, so it should be for what it is, for housing or suburban extension or a housing subdivision. It is not, plainly, urban renewal purposes, because there's never been an urban situation there. So I think you just need to straighten that out a little bit. Thank you.
Through the chair, urban renewal is a legislative term. I could ask Bram from Council's legal team to come up and explain that further. He probably has a bit more information on that than me.
I think we need to be accurate rather than having a legal argument to suggest that a farm was urban renewal. It's not.
This is the correct legislative
Point of
term
order,
that I'm
Madam
using.
Chair.
bloody
These are really important processes. My understanding is that if this is the right legal terminology, it's not a legal debate.
Exactly.
My point of
Thank
order
you.
is, can we actually utilise the opportunity, if need be, to get the legal advice? I want the right words used, and if these are the right words, I don't want to see them changed.
We just took very, very quick advice from legal, who has advised us urban renewal and housing would be suitable, but as I've already stated, urban renewal is the correct legislative term. I cannot get the word out today.
Well, I'd like to see, before I can support that, I would like to see that legal advice, with all due respect.
Bram, do you
That's-
want to come and tell Councillor Lee that this is illegal?
Urban renewal.
Yeah, urban renewal's a statutory term which covers quite a wide range of public works or things that local authorities or even Crown might want to do. So that's an acceptable phrase. As to its exact or precise definition, there isn't really one. It means what it says in ordinary language. You can drill down into some of the history of the phrase, I suppose. I don't have that to hand now. In terms of housing, I think you could just say that if you wanted to, urban renewal / housing, if that's what we're talking about.
Okay, thank you.
What Act of Parliament says that developing new housing areas is urban renewal? It's not renewal, but if we're speaking the English language, is it? Because there's never been an urban situation in that area. It was former rural land. That's now going to be a future housing subdivision.
Sorry, the Local Government Act makes reference to urban renewal.
Thank you. Councillor and I.
Thank you. No, I'm supportive of the process going forward of housing and for the park, but I just want to know, are you able to put something into that? We talk about affordable housing, and my concern is, how are we going to control the affordable housing prices of the houses going to be built on this section? What are we doing about that to ensure that we can meet that? I don't know if we can, but I'm just asking the question. Thank you.
In terms of Panuku's mandate, it's not specifically around affordable housing, but we are doing all that we can to increase housing supply on council-owned land in the region, with the hope that increased supply will result in levelling out of housing prices and greater options available to the Auckland region in terms of housing choice.
Right, thank you. So
Can I just make one more point, Madam Chair?
Well, wasn't there a speaking order,
I
Madam Chair?
have no recommendation, but I just feel it needs to be accurate. If the Local Government Act talks about doing stuff, taking measures or whatever for urban renewal purposes, fine. This is not urban renewal. It is not.
Okay, you're entitled to your opinion, Councillor Lee. Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I mean, I think we're really straying here, but I just want, as somebody who lived on the Hobsonville base and spent many years, that has been suburban, effectively suburban, for 50 years. Because there's been houses with garages, and you can laugh as much as you like.
Thank you, Councillor.
However, it has not been a farm
No, it hasn't.
in my
for
living
years.
memory, and I'm getting on
Yep.
now, and the reality is that it has been suburban, so it is a brownfields redevelopment, and that is urban renewal, whether you put a sub in front of it or not, but that's the reality, and that's what we're dealing with.
It is
Councillor,
so I'm very
rural
Councillor
rural
Lee,
zone
Councillor
land,
Cooper,
But we
former
don't
rural
need
zone
to
land
debate between-
released
No,
under the
no,
growth
I'm
strategy.
not actually arguing with him. I just want to say around this, Madam Chair, in terms of the consultation that went on from the Plan Change 13 that allowed this Hobsonville development in the first place, I want to keep faith with the many, many people who submitted on this plan change, and it might have been some years ago, but that's what set it in motion. Many people in the Hobsonville area that lived adjacent to this were very adamant that this triangle be not fully developed. So I'm very comfortable with the compromise that has been put here that keeps some of it in public open space, and I want to keep faith with all of those people that went to hearings, put submissions in to form this. And we know that these things take time, and now this is being played out as it was intended by the people who submitted. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's been moved and seconded. I'm going to put A. We're only dealing with Clark Road, Hobsonville.
Like my vote recorded against, thank
All
you.
those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Against?
No.
No,
Councillor Watson and Walker. Right, okay, thank you. That was the easy one.
Okay.
Right, okay, we have B. Thank
Madam
you.
Chair, I will just
Right,
ask
Kim?
Kim and
And
Liz to
Liz,
come and
yep.
join me. Now, very, very briefly, I'd just like to go over a few key points in respect of 2 Widdamoo Street.